What you're about to witness is not clickbait. This is not an exaggeration. And this is definitely not something WWE wants us talking about. Last night on Monday Night Raw, Dominik Mysterio didn't just cross a line, he obliterated it. He didn't just attack a legend's son, he brutalized a child in front of millions of viewers. And the wrestling world? It's on fire. I'm talking about Little John Cena, an innocent kid caught in the crossfire of wrestling's most toxic rivalry. And Dominik Mysterio, the man who calls himself Dirty Dom, just proved exactly how dirty he's willing to get. Hello viewers, if you're new here, please don't forget to like and hit that subscribe button for daily updates on WWE Raw. But here's what nobody is talking about. Was this a shoot? Did WWE actually authorize this? Or did Dominik Mysterio just commit career suicide on live television? Stick with me, because what I'm about to reveal will make you question everything you think you know about WWE's backstage politics, and why this moment might just be the most controversial incident in Raw history since the Montreal Screwjob. Let's dive in. The build-up. Before we get into the absolute chaos that unfolded, we need to talk about how we got here, because this wasn't just some random act of violence. This was calculated. This was personal. And this has been building for months. The Mysterio family drama has been one of WWE's most compelling storylines since Dominick turned his back on his legendary father, Rey Mysterio. We've watched Dominick align himself with the Judgment Day. We've seen him disrespect everything his father built. We've witnessed him spit in the face of Lucha Libre tradition. But attacking John Cena's son? That's a whole different level of depravity. Now, let me be crystal clear about something before the comment section explodes. Little John Cena is not a regular roster member. He's appeared sporadically at WWE events, usually sitting ringside during his father's matches, living every kid's dream of watching their dad be a superhero. He's never been part of a storyline. He's never been touched by any superstar. Until last night. The setup was deceptively simple. John Cena returned to Raw for what WWE advertised as a major announcement regarding his future in wrestling. We all know Cena's been winding down his in-ring career, balancing Hollywood with occasional WWE appearances. The wrestling world expected a retirement speech, maybe a challenge for one final match, perhaps a heartfelt goodbye. What we got instead was a nightmare. Cena came out to his usual thunderous ovation, and for the first time in years, he brought Little John with him. The kid was beaming, wearing a custom "You Can't See Me" shirt, throwing up the hand gesture we've all done a million times. It was wholesome. It was pure. It was everything wrestling should be about. And then, Dominik Mysterio's music hit. The confrontation. The crowd erupted in boos. I mean, we're talking nuclear heat here, folks. Dominik Mysterio has become one of the most hated heels in modern WWE, and that's saying something in an era where fans cheer for everyone. But Dom gets real heat, the kind of heat that makes your skin crawl, the kind that reminds you why we love this business. He strutted down that ramp with that cocky smirk, microphone in hand, Rhea Ripley by his side. The disrespect was dripping from every word before he even spoke. John Cena, he started, his voice oozing with arrogance. The so-called greatest of all time, 16-time world champion, Hollywood superstar, America's hero. The crowd was already chanting "You suck," but Dom just fed off of it. You know what I see when I look at you? I see a part-timer who can't let go. I see a has-been clinging to glory that dried up years ago. I see a father desperately trying to show his son what it was like back when daddy was relevant. Cena's jaw tightened. You could see it. The crowd was going insane. Little John looked confused, glancing up at his father, not quite understanding the vitriol being directed at them. And that's when Dominick made his fatal mistake. But you want to know what I really see? Dom took a step closer to the ring. I see another Mysterio situation waiting to happen. Because that kid right there, he pointed directly at Little John, he's going to grow up just like I did. He's going to realize that his father was never there, that wrestling was always more important than he was, that being a legend means sacrificing your family for these ungrateful fans. The arena was at a fever pitch. Cena grabbed a microphone, his voice low and dangerous in a way we rarely hear from the usually update Cenation leader. "Dominic, you have 5 seconds to apologize and walk back up that ramp. What happened between you and your father is between you and Ray, but you do not bring my son into this. You do not talk about my family." The tension was suffocating. Dominic laughed, actually laughed. "Or what, John? You're going to give me an attitude adjustment? You're going to teach me some respect? Please, you're not even under contract right now. You touch me and I'll have you arrested for assault." It was a checkmate move. Cena stood there, furious but restrained, his arm protectively around Little John. And that's when everything went sideways. The attack. What happened next will be dissected for years. Rhea Ripley suddenly grabbed the microphone from Dominic and started antagonizing Cena, clearly trying to draw his attention. It was obvious bait, and in hindsight, we should have seen it coming. Because while Cena was focused on Rhea, Dominic slid into the ring. The crowd's warning screams came too late. Dominic grabbed Little John by the arm and yanked him away from his father. Time seemed to freeze. Cena spun around, his eyes wide with a fear we've never seen from the man who's overcome every obstacle in his career. He lunged forward, but Damian Priest and Finn Balor appeared from under the ring, where they'd apparently been hiding the entire time, and dragged Cena backwards. The crowd was in absolute pandemonium. Security rushed the ring, but Judgment Day members blocked every entrance. This was orchestrated. This was planned. And then, in a moment that will live in infamy, Dominik Mysterio hoisted Little John Cena up onto his shoulders in the 619 setup position. Let me repeat that, because I still can't believe I'm saying it. Dominik Mysterio put John Cena's son in position for his father's signature move. The crowd was screaming. Commentators were yelling for someone to stop this. Michael Cole's voice cracked as he shouted, "Not like this. He's just a kid." Cena was fighting with everything he had against Priest and Balor, but they had him locked down. The anguish on his face was real. This wasn't selling. This wasn't acting. This was a father watching his child in danger and being powerless to stop it. Dominic ran at the ropes. And he connected with a 619 that sent Little John crashing to the mat. The arena exploded in a way I've never heard before. This wasn't heat. This wasn't booze. This was genuine outrage. Trash started hitting the ring. Fans were trying to climb the barricades. The entire building turned into absolute chaos. Cena broke free from Priest and Balor with what looked like legitimate superhuman strength, throwing them like ragdolls. He slid into the ring and immediately grabbed his son, who was crying and holding his face. Dominic stood in the corner, and here's the disturbing part. He looked shocked, like even he couldn't believe what he'd just done. Rhea covered her mouth. The rest of the Judgment Day backed away. It was as if reality crashed through the storyline in real time. The aftermath. What followed was some of the most uncomfortable television WWE has ever produced. Medical personnel flooded the ring. Cena was cradling his son, and you could see him checking for injuries, his hands shaking. Little John was conscious and talking, which was a relief, but the kid was clearly shaken and in pain. Adam Pearce, WWE's on-screen authority figure, rushed out and immediately called for the Judgment Day to be escorted from the building by security. For once, the heels didn't fight it. They left, with Dominic looking back at the ring with an expression that was hard to read. Was it regret, fear, or just great acting? The show went to an unscheduled commercial break, and when we came back, Cena was backstage in the medical area with his son. WWE cameras were there, which tells us this was at least partially sanctioned, but the footage was raw in every sense of the word. Cena was pacing, furious, waiting for medical to finish their examination. When the doctor finally told him that Little John was going to be okay, bruised but no serious injury, you could see the relief wash over him. But then the anger returned. "Get me Dominik Mysterio," Cena demanded on camera. "I don't care about contracts. I don't care about liability. That kid crossed a line that no one in this business has ever crossed. You want to attack me? Fine, I've been in this game for 20 years, but you put your hands on my son? He looked directly into the camera. Dominic, you just made the biggest mistake of your life. I'm coming for you. And there's nowhere in this building, nowhere in this company, nowhere on this planet that you can hide from what's coming. It was chilling. It was personal. It was real. The controversy. Now here's where things get complicated and why the wrestling world is tearing itself apart over this. Within minutes of Raw going off the air, social media exploded. And I don't mean in the usual, oh, that was cool. I mean legitimate controversy. The hashtag #FireDominick started trending worldwide. Parent advocacy groups started calling for investigations into child safety at WWE events. Mainstream media picked up the story. Even non-wrestling